Hello, so it seems people are on pretty much straight away for this one, because yeah, I've just loaded up the stream thing myself and I've already got a load of comments, so that's good. That should hopefully mean there's a lot of people on, which means it should hopefully be easy conversation topic, you know, load of conversation stuff we can talk about, and it'll mean the stream will go fast, which is always good. So in a minute YouTube will update and it will tell me how many people are actually watching, because it seems to like be delayed by about a minute to tell me that. So we will see. Right, the helmet. This is a British Armed Police Commando helmet, it's called, which is similar to a Pascut one, like the US style one, but I've got a flecked-on cover on it and I've got a scrim net pulled through that to sort of break up the outline. So in a bit what I'll do is I'll take the cover off of the helmet and then you'll be able to see the actual helmet, but the helmet itself is just kind of like black looking because it's obviously just a Kevlar 3A helmet. But it's actually quite a comfortable liner in this. The only thing I don't like with the chin strap system is you can't really tighten chin strap itself too much without actually making the bits around your ears quite tight. So I'd rather it be quite loose around the ears but then tight on the chin, but I don't think you can actually do that with this liner. No, it's not an airsoft foul, it's a real foul. Evening, Richard. Oh, I'm going to probably film a video tomorrow, assuming the weather's alright, with your bill hook. And what I'm going to do is there's a load of ivy in the garden that needs to be cut down, so I think it would actually be really good to use your bill hook to chop down the ivy. So what I'm going to do is hopefully I can make a good video out of just using the bill hook for an actual agricultural sort of tool, gardening tool. Well, this helmet only if you buy them on eBay when they're sold off by the police as surplus when they go out of date, because it has to be sold on like a lot of stuff like masks do and everything else. When they're about 5 or 10 years old they sell these helmets, and then they sell them for like between £30 and £50, so you can buy them for not too much. Tell you what, I'll untie the liner and then I'll take the flecked-on liner off of the scrim that I've put through it. And then you can actually see the helmet itself. There we go. So as you can see, it's like a Pascut or a Mitch helmet, whatever you want to call it, like the ones based on the Stahlhelm Kevlar 3A. Fairly comfortable, pretty good fit for me. No idea what you lot are on about there. And no, I don't have any Yushankas. That was asked about in the last stream. Tell you what, I'm just going to see if I can aim the webcam down slightly so I'm a bit more in frame. Actually, if I sit up like this, that should be alright. It's just sometimes it's a bit difficult to know exactly where to sit, because I swear when I'm actually watching the thing on YouTube, it seems like the framing is smaller than what I can actually see in OBS, which is really weird, but oh. I don't know why it looks like I've got a blue shadow coming out of the helmet, but it does look like that for some reason on the webcam. I think this helmet was like 2010 or something like that, because as I said, after a few years they sell them off because they officially Kevlar degrades. So for a civilian, like the uses I'd have for it, it's perfect. But for police use they have to get rid of it after a few years of service. So it's pretty much good as new, like a lot of masks are when they go into the surplus market, but yeah. Yeah, there's a compound bow back there, but you probably can't see it, it's probably out of frame. But it's I think it's called Barnet Banshee, the compound bow I've got. It's not like a very expensive one, it's like designed as a junior bow. Well, I've got some coffee at the moment, T55, and I do certainly like coffee. But this is just cheap instant coffee, it's not fancy coffee, although I have got a Tassimo machine. Well, it doesn't surprise me that Italians have the best coffee, because you guys certainly know good coffee, don't you, in Italy? You can put other things in coffee that's not milk. There's like non-dairy creamers and things like that. No, what was... I do sometimes watch XDM50's video, but what was his one today? Let me just look it up and see what it was. Is he selling your knuckle, whatever it was you were doing? It's not knuckle dusters now, is it? But you were going to make some stuff, weren't you, and sell it? Is that the things? I won't watch the video now because I've not got sound anyway, because my headphones aren't plugged in, so the cable doesn't go across the screen. Yeah, now and again I do Mike when I remember, but he's one of the channels where now and again I won't watch him for a bit, then I watch quite a few of his videos. Like with you, I watch all your videos, and a few other channels I watch all the videos, and then there's some channels I try to watch when I remember, because obviously YouTube does not notify me of the things efficiently, so I have to remember to kind of bulk watch their videos in general when I do it. I'm fine, I'm a bit tired again. I had a day, today's been one of those days where I didn't wake up till really late for some reason. Which has annoyed me, so I think tomorrow I'm going to set my alarm clock for really early and just get up early because I've had way too much sleep today. And it's been one of those days where I felt groggy all day, despite the fact, you know, I've had to, like 12 hours sleep or something silly. If it's a Soviet Cold War gas mask, I would not use the filter it comes with, because nearly all Soviet filters have asbestos in. As I said earlier, but it's a British Armed Police, they call them Commando helmets, but they're very similar to US Pascat helmets. I think they're built under licence. There's one version of this that looks identical to one of the Pascats, and then, you know, like the M88 helmets. And then they had kind of a few variants, and I think this is one of the variants. They call the lightweight helmet, but it's a 3A Kevlar helmet. It's designed to, you know, protect armed police from pistol bullets and like shotguns. Yeah, but the Polish FB5 filter isn't a communist filter. It's like one from a few years ago. No, I've never seen Gate. I get asked a travel question a lot. If we ignore places outside of the UK, I'll just do Europe. I've been to Portugal, Spain, France, Germany, Austria, Norway, Finland, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Greece, probably a couple of other places in Europe I can't think off the top of my head as well. Probably the Spitfire. Although I guess a Tempest is technically a better plane, isn't it, if you're on about the Hawker Tempest? Well, you can get Polish FP5 filters on eBay, which fit the GP5 and are actually safe. I did a video earlier, which might interest some of you, where I successfully got a NATO 40mm filter to fit on a GP5 and make an airtight seal, so it worked. And in the video I'd give you instructions on how you can get it to work. I'd still say an FP5 filter is a better option, because if you do the NATO filters in the GP5 you're going to damage the thread of the mask by forcing them in. But I found a way you can put like a rubber stopper in there to make the NATO filters fit properly. That's cool. If they're still sealed they'll probably last more than a year as well. I think there's just particulate filters for the Czechoslovakian M10 and the M10M, but not sure if you'd be able to find them easily online. How much would what cost in terms of US currency nitrous? Can't see what you're actually asking about. Oh, FP5 filters. You might have issues getting them into the US, because that's the thing. A few people in the United States have told me that FP5 filters cost a lot to have imported, like on the shipping. So I don't know if it'd actually be practical. Just look on eBay and see if you can find any. I've not played Ghost Recon Wildlands, no. That's strange. Yeah, I've seen like sword breakers, there's like dagger things, which looks like a dagger with a kind of comb sort of shape to it. But I've not seen bill hooks with that instead of a spike. Very odd. Pascut will stop stuff a bit bigger than 9mm, because it will stop 45 ACP and things like that, because most Pascuts are rated for 3A, which is pretty much all pistol rounds. Oh, it's exactly what it is. It's a lovely foul. Just hanging up there. Well, my favourite bayonet, full stop, would probably be the massive old Lee Enfield, like, sword bayonet, but I don't have one of those. My favourite bayonet I've got, I'll get out for you in just a second. I'm just finishing the coffee off while it's actually still warm. Right, let's see if I can find it in the straw. There we go. This is the favourite bayonet my favourite bayonet I own, which is a Swiss Sturmgewehr 57, the SIG 510 bayonet. It's just like a very big stainless steel bayonet with like a really nice wooden handle. It's either wood or bakelite, I'm not actually sure. Just seeing if it has a bit of an odour to it, but that's what it looks like. Sadly, it won't fit on any of my rifles because I don't have a SIG 510. I don't know, I quite like my Dacia Sandero, to be honest. I like the one that's like the sword bayonet, as said. I haven't seen there's variants of that. Modern rifle, probably the SIG 550. I mean, that's fairly modern. I mean, I know there's updated versions of it as well. I'll get the foul down as everybody likes that. Sadly, this bayonet won't fit on it, because it's for a battle rifle, but not the same model of battle rifle. There's yeah, it's got a different kind of lug on it, but that's definitely gonna be unstable if I do that. So there you go. There's the foul, just put the carry handle down. You can still cheek weld of it with this helmet on. The British Army currently uses the L85A3 as far as I'm aware, the A2 and the A3. The A1 was the one that was really crap. SA-80 is the name of the platform, it's not the name of the actual rifle, it just means Small Arms 80. There's technically a few rifles which can be classed as the SA-80. All the Dacia parts are Renault and Nissan, yeah, because Dacia is currently owned by Renault Group. Now, I've had this helmet a while. That's because it is an L1A1. Well, I don't have an AUG, so I can't really say how good it is, and I've never shot one. From what I've heard, if you're on about the Steyr AUG, I've heard it's a pretty good rifle, but you know, I don't have one, so I can't comment. Coolest mask, XM28. Alright, cheers. Hello to people in Finland as well. I got into military years ago just because I find it interesting, but I don't even find just modern military are interesting. I find a lot of historical stuff interesting as well, like medieval weapons and armour and stuff like that. I'd love to get a bayonet for the SLR, but the problem is, like, whenever I've seen SLR bayonets for sale, they're like over £100, and I don't understand why. Because most other bayonets, like, you can get those Swiss ones for like 30 odd quid, so I don't know why, you know, you should pay like 3 times the amount for a bayonet for this rifle. It just seems silly to me. I don't know how long it will be till they actually phase out 5.56, because I imagine they're going to keep the M16s in service forever. Ah, sounds good, Rich. If you can just use that one you made today or whatever for a different sword, and then you're going to forge a new one. Pretty much any mask would be fine for riot evasion. It doesn't need to be a cheek filter mask. The problem is with cheek filter masks, as I've said before, is when the filters expire you can't change them inside the mask. So you can't do a practical... well, no, the foul bayonets aren't even rare, that's the thing. It's just a lot of sites seem to charge more for them because they think they can get away charging more for them. No, it's the number 1, but it's very similar to the number 4. The only difference is sights and, like, overall weight of the rifle. Well, it might not be a dumb question, so go ahead and I'll see how dumb it seems when you ask it. Well, the particle filters in cheek filter masks will start expiring as soon as anything comes into contact with them, because you can't seal the filters off. M16s aren't too bad in the desert, because the AR platform means that you don't get a lot of dust getting into the rifle. Somewhere between 30 and 50 pounds, I can't remember the exact amount. This is an SLR I'm holding. Not on UK eBay, they're not, Dark Shadow, as you've asked me several times. I think you mean Pagsut, or Pasket. There, not Pasket. It's Pagsut. It's like personal something ground thing it stands for, but it's like an acronym, but it's Pagsut or Pasket, isn't it? Pasket, I'm pretty sure, is P-A-S-G-T. Is the that real? I don't know what you mean by is the that, but if you mean is the SLR real, it's real but deactivated. You can see there where they've put one of the welds in it. And it's inert ammunition in the magazine as well. Locked in properly? Yep. Yep, that's it. Personal armour system for ground troops, thank you. Favourite World War II rifle? Well, the coolest I think is the Sturmgewehr 44, but out of like most of the common ones, something like the Lee Enfield. Machine gun, Bren gun. Yeah, the SLR's real but deactivated. It's not got the gas tube there, that's been taken out. You might be able to see if I turn it that way. It's got obviously the barrel in it, but the gas tube's been removed when they deactivated it. And some of the internals have been taken out as well. Oop, there goes the dust cover. but you can probably see there that a lot of the internals have been taken out. Just try and get that in nice and tight for next time I take it off so it doesn't shoot out. Problems because obviously because they've deactivated this. There we go, that's nice and tight for the dust cover now. Won't shoot off again. Why should I add in details about the L1A1 in the description? No, it's inert ammunition. You know, where they like fire it and it's got no powder in it. Favourite World War II tanks are Sherman. I have no idea what you're on about, T-55, but probably not. I've played Far Cry 3 ages ago, so I can't really remember the factions in it, I'm afraid. So, you want a mask that was before 1990 that's under €50. West German M65, French M1, sorry, M51, quite a few. Yeah, I like Stalker. I've streamed Stalker on this channel before as well. I'm assuming you mean reenacted, not rain-acted, but no, I've not done any reenactment. It's going to completely depend where you are, Nitrous, because in different countries different things are at different prices, but FM12s you can get in quite a lot of places for like 30 to 60 euros, pounds, dollars, so maybe just get an FM12. No, is that a type of camouflage or something for actual Tiger Strike? Probably not, in terms of visiting other people's channels, because unless they've asked me to check out a particular video, then probably not. One thing I'll mention about this is it doesn't have the spring thing in it, because when I was watching videos of people shooting actual L1A1s, it seems when you charge it back, that bit springs forward and does that on its own, the charging handle. But mine doesn't do that because obviously it's where it's been deactivated, it doesn't connect to anything. I did repair the trigger guard though on it, because with L1A1s they have the expanding trigger guard for winter mittens, so I've repaired that. I had to put another screw into the bit there for it. Anywhere that sells 40mm NATO filters or RD40 filters, M65s take 40mm NATO. Yeah, I've got a quiver. I've used it in some videos. It's up there. I'm not going to get it down because it's awkward to get at, but I've got a quiver that's full of arrows. I've showed it in one of the videos where I was being asked about arrows before. Cartoons. Well, The Simpsons I watched a lot when I was younger. Dilbert as well. Probably watched some more kids like orientated cartoons, but I can't think what they are off the top of my head. When you say surplus rifle, do you mean ones you can actually shoot? Are you in the US? If you can get like a bolt action like a Lee Enfield or a Moss and Nagant cheap, I guess they'd be pretty fun. That sounds very good, Richard. I obviously have a GP5 gas mask. I was even talking about one earlier in this stream. Yeah, €15 for an MP5 is a very good price. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of videos on knives, if you've ever watched my videos on them. I was showing a bayonet earlier in the video. But yeah, the FAU isn't too heavy for all the people that keep saying, oh no, the FAU's a really heavy rifle. It's not too bad at all. I know mine's obviously a bit lighter than the real one, in terms of one that has all the working action in it, but it's still not really heavy. Yeah, I've got an M50. I don't know, I've never tested helmets with the GP7. I could do if you want, but I'm not a fan of the GP7 and the PMK. So that means, obviously, I'm not going to be a massive fan of recommending them. I don't know, I just find it quite funny to weightlift with the phone. This is an Armed Police Commando helmet, which is basically like a Pascut. Yeah, M1911s are cool. I prefer the Browning high power out of those lots of sort of things, but I don't have either. I don't have any deactivated pistols, actually. Yeah, I've got a Hungarian PMG. It's either Hungarian or a Ukrainian one, because it looks like a PMG but with the smaller holes on the voice diaphragm, doesn't it? Oh, I love Webleys, but sadly I've never seen any deactivated ones for reasonable money. They've always been really expensive when I've been looking at Webleys. They do rust slightly. The FAW is pretty good at not rusting, but you can probably see a bit of rust on it. But I've just used silicone lubricant with a silicone cloth. You can probably see a tiny bit of rust on the barrel. But a couple of years ago, or I think it was like a year ago, I cleaned these all down with the silicone cloth, and they looked really like good and new again. I've got two replica revolvers. No, I've got an RPK, but I don't have an AK-74. If a voice diaphragm breaks, then yeah, chemicals will get in, but most are made to be pretty tough. That's cool if you could still load it. Yeah, I've got an M15, why don't you watch the videos rather than keep asking? That sounds typical Richard. I mean, that's like some of the stuff for gas masks, they say rare whatever mask, and they're really common. Best chemical suit for civvies. Well, what I'd actually recommend is getting a good raincoat and some fishing waders. And you'll be more comfortable in that than the chemical suit, and it will probably work out to be cheaper as well. Mostly caliber Thomas. AK-74 is 545. AK-47 or AKM is 7.62. Both are by 39mm. But also the AK-74 has like a flash hider on it, and I think some of the mechanical parts of it are slightly different as well. The M15 is a lot more comfortable than the M10. I would not really recommend M10 masks at all. I don't think there would be a zombie apocalypse, but I've got plenty of gear here that would deal well with zombies. They gave out masks like the Volks Mask 37 and the Volks Mask 40. I've done videos on both of those. Polish MC1 Czech CM3 masks sometimes sell for a few pounds or dollars each. So that's fairly cheap. At least in my opinion it's cheap. Which one, Tumbo? The Katana or the Sabre or the Rapier? Which one? I've not really done any proper tests of any of them yet, sadly, because I've not had milk jugs to chop and stuff like that. yeah, any helmet style masks are going to be tight around the head because they're literally rubber you stretch over your head. I'll be streaming for another half hour at least. I might go a bit longer if I get a load of good questions on and there's a lot of people watching. What do you mean? How long am I doing the stream, T55? Is that what you're saying? As I just said just now, I'm doing this for another half an hour, maybe a bit longer. If you mean making YouTube videos in general, well, as long as I can keep doing them. Next time I'll be streaming will be this Thursday. And probably a similar time of day. Sadly, I've not got any deactivated grenades at all, or replica grenades. No, it's not actually on the wall at the moment, is it? It's in my hand, unless you mean the Lee Enfield that's just at the top of the frame. No, this is not a Dragonov, it's a FAL, an L1A1. It's legal in the UK to own a tank, yeah, but you have to have, like, probably a heavy goods vehicle licence to be able to drive it on the roads, and you need the rubber treads on them to be able to drive them on the roads as well. Now, a good solution to that then is shave off all your hair, like I do. As you can see at the moment, I did my hair again the other day, so no hair there. Means everything's really comfortable in terms of helmets and masks. I've got a couple of masks that are broken, but not very many. The majority of my masks work because there's not much that goes wrong with a gas mask. If I can find the actual button for this. There we go. Avon masks like the S10 and the FM12 are much better than the GP5, yeah. You're saying basically is the most common cheaply produced mask in the world, you know, not as good as a high quality military mask. The answer's quite obvious why. I definitely want to get a Canadian C4 if I can see one for sale. Well, I think Avon makes some of the best gas masks in the world, but they're both an American and a British company now. But sadly, Britain's not bought an Avon mask in a while because they decided, you know, why should we support British industry and buy our own goods? I think people vandalising pretty much anything's bad. Yeah, I mean, I have to shave my hair like every month if I want it to stay really short. BEM4GP is alright. I know they had a lot of problems with it when it was actually in service, which is why it didn't stay in service for very long, but my one's fine and it works. Yeah, the Suez Crisis would have been around the time the Lee Enfield went out of service, though, because the SLR was pretty much being adopted properly by Britain in the mid-50s. No, the only Hungarian helmet I have is one that's like a Russian helmet. Because they replaced the S10 with a Scott GSR, maybe because certain people were bribed. Bribed even. This is probably my favourite helmet because this is the sort of highest protection rated helmet I've got, and it's fairly comfortable. I think there'd be probably some other wars in like places like Africa where both sides were using FALs, because lots of African nations use the FALs, lots of South American nations use the FAL. Well, I don't have any problems with bayonets, because I'm one of those people who can't see why some people get upset with the idea of people getting bayoneted, but they're fine with people being shot and, you know, fragged in a war. So I certainly don't think bayonets are inhumane in that sort of sense, if you're already fighting people to kill them. Yeah, unless you get, like, too much water or whatever on the sword, then you might have to put some fresh oil on it, but shipping grease that it comes with will be fine. I can't get a Hungarian helmet now because it's in a completely different room. I've got videos on it, just look at my videos. I really like the Flecktarn trousers because they're comfortable and they're thick enough that they'll keep you warm in the winter. In the summer, they're obviously, you get a bit hotter in them than if you're wearing like the British trousers, because British DPM trousers tend to be really thin. But in terms of overall like quality, yes, the Flecktarn trousers are really nice. You on about Brody helmets, Thomas? Like Mark 1 and Mark 2 helmets? The L1A1 went into service in the mid-50s, came out of service in the mid-80s, sort of very early 90s. So it was in British Army service for like 40 odd years. This works with an FM12. The only thing is, with most masks, you can't do the strap up on the chin like that when you've got a mask on, because the mask gets in the way of the strap. But this fits with it. A British Mark 7 helmet fits with it. I'm pretty sure Poland has a bigger army than Switzerland, but I don't think either are going to fight each other, because I don't see why Poland would want to invade Switzerland, to be quite honest with you. I don't re-oil them after every use. I basically re-oil them if I've got them dirty, but I wipe them down with like a cloth that's generally fairly oily, if that makes sense. So I'm not necessarily putting fresh oil on the cloth to wipe them, but I generally wipe them with a oily cloth. That's a light anti-gas respirator in my YouTube picture. I'd assume Denmark, but I don't actually know between Denmark and Sweden. I know Sweden used to have a fairly good professional army, but I'm pretty sure they've cut the budget to that massively, haven't they, in recent years? I'd assume Finland has the biggest one out of all the Nordic countries at the moment. No, I don't have any sort of jacket patches, if that's what you're on about. Because the L85, for the first generation of it, the A1 was an absolutely shit rifle, and it replaced the SLR, which was a really good rifle. So, if you have a rifle like this in service, that's renowned for being incredibly reliable and powerful, and, you know, like easy to clean and everything else, and it gets replaced with a rifle that doesn't really work properly, has a habit of breaking, you know, has a load of design flaws, like a mag release that, because, like, for example, the SLR has a mag release like the AK, where, you know, you rock forward a button, and then it has a rocking mag. The first L85s had a button that faced in, so when you had the rifle on the sling, it would keep hitting and the mag would fall out. So yeah, if you get anything really good and reliable in service that's replaced by something not fit for purpose, it's no surprise people don't like them. No, I've never developed my own camo pattern. It depends on what type of Chinese surplus it is. With gas masks, I really like the Chinese FMJ05 mask. That's very good. This is Velcro. It's where I guess they'd have a police identification number or something on it, but obviously they've pulled that off when it goes into surplus, but the Velcro's still there, so you can stick some sort of patch or identification number onto it. As I've said before, I've definitely considered it, it's just getting one that's a sensible price. I just find the CT12 and FM12 are very comfortable masks, they've got good voice diaphragms, you get a good field of vision from them, you know. They don't do anything wrong, basically. Okay, Sweden has more than I thought, but yeah, Finland then has got the biggest army, which doesn't surprise me because it's an independent nation. Yeah, I imagine, like I said, it's like with that scabbard mic on that Sabre, it's got a rust handprint on it where I take it down and put it back up on the hooks by holding the scabbard in a certain place, unless you wipe it every time the actual scabbard rusts from the salt in your sweat. Something with 9mm ammo, just so it's common, so something like an MP5. You don't, with the SHMS, you still get a fairly good field of vision because the lenses are so close to the eyes. Yeah, I end up spending close to £100 on the XM28 because they're so hard to get in the UK. Oh, you could actually look at my channel, sort by oldest video to the newest one, and then see. How do you find it, Tumbo? Because like I said, lots of people have complained about John Barnett swords, but I haven't got a problem with that rapier other than the fact, you know, it's a little bit heavy, but I was expecting it to be heavy because I looked at the weight before getting it. If you mean the MP5, like Heckler & Koch MP5, it's 9mm. Steel helmets are obsolete now, you make them out of Kevlar or thermoplastics. The children's Mickey Mouse mask nitrous, because that's the one that looks like Mickey Mouse's decaying face. I mean the American Mickey Mouse, you know, the one that's actually modelled on Mickey Mouse, not the British one that's just a bright coloured mask. If you've got modern bows that are made out of, like, yeah, carbon fibre and that, you don't need to de-string them. It's only old wooden bows you have to do that. Yeah, thanks Richard. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Yeah, thank you Richard for pointing that out. I like what Mike's got on his videos now, where it's got those little pop-ups in every video that says click like and click subscribe and click the bell. That's very good. Did you make those, Mike, or did you download a pack from somewhere to put them in? It depends totally what lenses they are, Fox, because there's loads of different types of lenses. Some you might be able to get on eBay, others you probably can't. Sorry, just had to clear my throat. Sorry if that made a disgusting noise, it's getting a bit phlegmy. I've got a Seiko Kinetic, which is my like daily wear at the moment. Where did you get it from, Tumbo? Because the one I got from Seven Swords is very, very well sharpened. There's actually a FAQ thing about airsoft, as far as I'm aware, in the bottom of the description. Yeah, they're good. I might have to get something like that for one of my videos, I think, because if I remember to put them on while making a video, it might boost up the people actually clicking the bell and then finding out when I've got new videos up. In terms of like weirdest looking camo patterns, I think Poland's developing like a really strange looking camo pattern now. I think it actually looks quite effective, but it's really weird looking. Let me just search it. If I can get a good picture of it up. It's called MAPA camo. I'm going to see if I can get a high resolution picture of it up, and then I'll post a picture of it in the chat. I think it actually looks really effective, but it's very, very strange. Okay, here's a... I just want to try and get a full resolution one up so you can see it well. Okay, this isn't as big a picture as I'd like, but here you go. If you have a look at this, there's one picture of it. Let me put another picture up of it actually being worn by somebody. There we go. See, it actually looks pretty effective, doesn't it? But it's really strange looking camo. I kind of want some though to test it. It kind of reminds me of when Predator's got the like cloaking thing on, doesn't it? It kind of looks like it's shimmering like that. But yeah, it seems to be really effective. I mean, unless you see it in lots of different environments, you don't know how like posed some of those pictures are, do you? That's the only issue with pictures like that. Oh, it looks like there's a weird visual glitch. Is anybody else seeing that? Looks like my webcam's colour's dying. Very odd. Is the sound still working? Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug my webcam and then I'm going to plug it back in. Hopefully it doesn't cut out the stream. Hopefully you'll just get audio for a moment. And then if I plug the webcam back in, let's see if it fixes the picture. If not, I'll use OBS to take the webcam off and then put it back on. Right, yeah, let me take the webcam off then. So the webcam should be off, and I assume you've got a black screen now. But now let's put the video capture device back on. There we go. Okay, that looks like it's working, and now I just need to make it full screen again. If I can remember how to do that. Because I know I can stretch it full screen, but that actually... There's a way of doing it. Fit to screen or stretch to screen? Stretch to screen looks pretty bad, doesn't it? Unless, was that how I had it before? I can't remember. Does that look a lot lower resolution now than it was before? I can't actually tell. Just give me a moment and I'll try and get that back to how it was. Let's try fit to screen. Oh, that kind of makes it like that. No, I'll just put it back on stretch to screen. I don't think that looks too bad. It's only stretched a bit horizontally. Don't know why that's doing that now. Oh well. Hopefully this way it's actually a bit bigger, because it looks now like YouTube's seeing it more like it looks in OBS. Because you can see more of the lens field, can't you, now than you could before. Yeah, good. I don't know why, because I thought I had it stretched to screen before, but it looks like it's done it a bit differently now. It means at least it probably won't cut me out as much if I slouch in the chair, which is really good for me, because it means I don't have to keep constantly sitting like this. Not that I mind sitting up a bit, but yeah. Right, let's see what we had in the chat. It's a lot better, that rat bite, but the issue is, again, I can knock it and it can still bleed a bit, so I might end up putting a plaster on it for another day or two, but should be fine soon. Well, GP5s didn't have hoses, but I guess you mean just like Soviet 40mm hoses. Yeah, it's definitely not infected, because, yeah, there's no red spreading out from it, so that's fine. The Soviet hoses, they have talc in, and obviously talc's not good to breathe in, but there's nothing really dodgy with it. I think it looks red because the colour on the webcam doesn't look as good as actual sort of colour you see of your eye, and it doesn't focus on it properly, but there's like the actual cut and there's like a bit of a red bruise around it, but it's not really red. I carry my tactical pen most days. I've not got it in my pocket at the moment. It's on the table. But yeah, I like it because it's just good to EDC a pen full stop, because obviously being able to write something down if you need to with a pen is really handy. You realise when, on days I don't have it, how annoying it is not having it. It's also good for opening up packaging that has like awkward seals, because you can jam the glass break a bit in between the like plastic seals, and then you can do that with it to like lever them off, which is really handy. I do that at work sometimes to open the really sort of strong seals on some of the industrial packaging we have. I've got gloves made out of like stuff that like whatever the tactical gloves are made out of, I'm not sure, because I've got both like the riot gloves that are that really pyro hide stuff, whatever they call it, that's like bite proof, tear proof, kind of knife proof stuff, and I've also got just like, you know, nice warm gloves that are made out of a kind of neoprene kind of stuff. Both are quite nice. I don't have a modern Polish MP6, so no, I don't really know the stuff you mean about the film and the eyepieces. Right, see ya, if you're off. No, you can't carry anything for self-defense in the UK. That sounds good, Richard. That's a Lee Enfield up there. Number 1 Mark III, I think, technically. Yep, see that sword there? That's a Hanway, the one next to the katana, the arming sword. I think I've got a tracksuit somewhere, but it's not very fashionable, is it? But is the Hanway Scimitar, look it up, sort of like a Shamshir? Yeah, it's pretty similar to a Shamshir. If you search Shamshir sword, it's quite similar to that. Yeah, both look quite nice, but I like sort of sabery and curved sword. Yeah, as long as I don't keep knocking my hand, it's alright. Oh, you mean the old style MP6? I thought you meant the new one. Yeah, but to be honest, that might be something like the anti-fog inserts you can put in GP5s. It's just I've never bothered, because whenever I've got them, I've always opened them. They've always been like discoloured and old looking. I'm not actually sure what you mean, Richard, by that. Let me quickly Google it and then I'll tell you what I think about them. And then typically the chat keeps moving, so I can't just copy paste what you... So is the pipe back like the extra bit at the front of the blade? Is that what they're on about? They look quite good, the things coming up on Google Images, but it looks like it would make a stronger sword, but I don't actually know. I should have a sign on all of them, hanging off of them, saying this is this, this is that. Like, put up a load of posters of arrows saying this is a katana, this is a Lee Enfield. And then people would still ask what they are. Fashionable. Don't know, really. Probably personal preference, isn't it? I mean, I like Forshidas. I think they look really cool. They'll say, sorry, I can't read English, I can't see what the sign says. I'd say probably Lee Enfield still. A random confused parrot. Yeah, I've got a small, like, modern stainless steel kukri. But yeah, one of my friends has got a really nice kukri, like an actual Nepalese made one made from spring steel. But this one is just like a modern mass-produced kukri, and yeah, I really like these. They handle really nicely. You could frost with it or chop with it. I think I actually prefer this to a lot of bigger machetes because you can hold it really comfortably with your thumb along the back of the blade like that. And I've chopped wood with this, so it does a good job actually, you know, doing stuff, and you can get quite a bit of sort of momentum with it, or hold it like that. And yeah, kukris are good. I started the stream 55 minutes ago. That sounds interesting, Richard. Yeah, I mean, unless I handled one, I wouldn't really be able to say if I liked it too much, I guess, because you'd need to kind of have two swords the same, one without it, one with it, and then I could probably give you a better opinion if I like the way it handles, but... I really don't know, actually, on that. I'd say probably like a really small, awkward pocket knife kind of thing. Well, a lot of the modern British Army equipment's pretty dreadful, but I'm sure there's lots of African and sort of South American armies that have just completely unfit, you know, equipment as well. Maybe the neutron bomb? I don't know. I'd say some sort of horrible chemical or sort of NBC weapon. It's fairly good against shrapnel as far as I can tell, but it wouldn't stop much more than that. If it was equated to Kevlar, it'd probably be like Kevlar level 1. Like, obviously modern Kevlar, like 3A vests, offer much better protection, and plate carriers offer even more than that because they've got the plates in. No, I'm only a prepper in the sense of having like a couple of weeks worth of food and water kept in the house, but that's just common sense in my opinion. I think, to be honest, if there's a full-scale nuclear war, your survival odds aren't very good, so I'd just probably say enjoy the fireworks as they all go off, and then hope you're in the blast zone. I don't actually know. A lot of Turkish gas masks are licensed and unlicensed copies of other masks, so probably depends which mask they're copying, in all honesty. I did a video on the top 10 creepy gas masks, but I'd say the SHMS looks very creepy, and some of the old US optical masks. In general, optical masks are creepy, I think, because the eyepieces on them are so small. "50 feet underground wouldn't be very good if it was a ground burst and it was in the area you're in." No idea, Pyro. Because generally most militaries that are well trained tend to have good equipment. And like not vice versa, you know, if it's a poorly trained army, they generally tend not to have good equipment either. British Commando helmet, which is like the armed police one, very similar to a Pascut. It's a level 3A Kevlar helmet. Ah yeah, that's a good point, Tumbo actually saying Saudi Arabia, because they have a lot of money to spend on it, but they generally, whenever their army's been involved in many actual, you know, real conflicts, they've not done very well. So yeah, good shout out with that. I've just got a text, I think. Let me quickly check what that is. Right, I'm going to have to finish the stream in like 5 to 10 minutes time. It's been at least an hour, but something I'm gonna have to do in a bit is come up a bit earlier than I was expecting. Yeah, I like cats, I like dogs, I like most animals, to be honest. Sturmgewehr 44 isn't one of my favourite guns, or the Lee Enfield isn't one of my favourite guns. In terms of guns I like the most, FAL L1A1 would be definitely the first. SIG 550s I really like, Kalashnikov series I really like. You know, there's a lot of rifles I like. FN Mag as a machine gun, Bren guns. Yeah, on a lot of nights, Mike, it's just I pick one of my friends up from where he works, because the buses, like I've probably said to you before, are a bit shit in my area, and because I get on with him well, I just like, don't mind driving down, you know, a couple of miles to pick him up and then drive him back to his house. Because, yeah, otherwise he has to wait like an hour for a bus that might not turn up. I have no idea what you're on about, Dimmy Pop. I like the Sutton Hoo helmet, a random confused parrot. I think the Sutton Hoo helmet is really cool. Just link to any of the studies that show the GP5 filters have asbestos in. If somebody's too stupid to, you know, when they are told that a filter has asbestos in, to not breathe through it, I guess they deserve their Darwin Award, I'm sorry to say. What do you mean about US helmets? There you go, I just replied to that. My favourite American helmet is like probably that modern one they've got that's made out of like that ballistic plastic stuff, whatever it's called, thermoplastic, which is meant to be better than Kevlar 3A, but it weighs less and, you know, everything else. I could do a random shout out. Yeah, here's a shout out to Mr. Random. My favourite camouflage that I've got would be Soviet SS Lito camo, but that Polish camo we were talking about earlier I think looks really cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is the ECH, because they have both the ACH and ECH, don't they? Which is confusing, but it's one of those anyway. Probably Chile, I'd say, out of all the South American countries. Oh, you're on about, the PDK machete, aren't you? Which is basically a sword. It's like the size of a mesa. This one. Very big machete. No, it's actually a katana, I think you'll find. Wakashis are smaller, aren't they? Anyway, I'll finish the stream off around now. What is the random no comment for then, Matt? All in capitals. Yeah, right, see everybody, thanks for watching, all the people watching, some good questions tonight, so time went quickly as usual. Now you need to ask a question first. You can't just say I need to know and then just not say anything. Right, cheers to everybody. Anyway, I do have to go because, you know, I have stuff to do in real life, weirdly enough. I'm not actually some sort of shut-in neat who sits around doing nothing all day, which might surprise some people, but anyway, I'm off. See everybody, have a nice evening, and I'll be on streaming Thursday at a similar sort of time to tonight, I guess. I might try and stream a bit earlier, that way if I have to go in the evening. You know. Alright, anyway. See you then.